Save capital at hash 01. 01.
Okay, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Right. So I want you to download the company file from your own backups and check in the LMS page. There is a document uploaded called purchasing and placing purchase orders. Right. I want you to access that document and also make sure your company file is open your own company file and access the LMS page. There is a document. All right, open your company file. Now, what is the week we are in? Week number 8, right? Week number 8 means we have completed more than half of your semester. And we have 15 weeks. So we have completed more than half of the semester. Then by now, you should be familiar with the software. And you should be familiar with the process we are following. When you come to the lecture, you should know. You are required to open the company file and you are required to complete the rest of the work from the point where you have stopped. Okay. You have to make sure you can easily access your company file and you are thorough with this company file downloading, uploading, opening the company file, the basic stuff. You should be very familiar. Otherwise, what happens is that the examination will be in trouble. But after completing 15 weeks with MyOB, you still struggle to identify how to open the company file and how to find where I have stored my company file. So that is going to be a serious problem. Last week we had the examination after at least a few, right? 2-3 students, they still struggle. That's the effective. I don't know how. It's a very basic thing, right? Like copying and pasting a file from one file to another. Like storing a particular file in a particular location. These are very basic computers. But my here kid knows how to store a photo somewhere and how to go and find that photo. They're struggling to find where my company file is stored. So you should understand there are serious indications there. Okay. So hope you have opened your company file. Oh, just keep it. But whatever the last session we that's it. Email. Right, so here I'm opening my company file, right? So it's in my folder that I have completed. Now your company file should be having 49 days remaining. That should be the correct company file. Make sure you pick the right company file. Right, continue. Okay. Now, if it's the right company file for us to start the working today, you have to make sure your company file contains two things, two major things. One is customer supplier cards. When you go to the card files command center, under the cards list, there should be a list of supplier cards. All right. These cards we have created 2 sessions before, right? And also, once you go to the inventory command center, under the inventory command center, in the items list, there should be a list of items that we have created immediately last session. Okay. So these 2 requirements should be there in your company file, if it's the right company file. And also these 2 lists are required for us to start the working today. Okay. Now we continuously discuss the process of purchasing. Right? Okay. So in the last couple of sessions, we kept on discussing the purchasing process. Right? I hope you should be okay with that process now. What was the process we discussed? Now today only we are going to start working with that. Therefore, you should know this. Items creation was a part of that process. Supplier creation was a part of that process. So I just need to know what is the process. Purchasing කොහොමද වෙනවා කියලා අපි කතා කරන්නේ organization. First, what was the first step? Yeah. First, we identified our requirement. Okay. Then we look for suppliers. Right. First, we identify the requirement. At that point, we identify what are the items we need, what are the items we have, all that. Right. Then we look for suppliers. Then what's the next step? Like now, supplier list එකක් ඉන්නවා. ඒකලන්ට මොකක්ද ඊළඟට කරන්නේ? Yeah. We call for quotations. Right. When we call for quotations, after analyzing the quotations, we identify who the supplier is and whatever the items we need. Then we place the what? Place the purchase order, right? We place the purchase order. After placing the purchase order, what happens? Good. Goods received. The supplier will send us the goods along with the invoice, right? Along with the invoice. Then GRN will be issued from the stores, and then that invoice will be recorded as a purchase in our system. Right? Now we have purchased, we have the invoice, all that is done. Then what is the last step? Making the payment. Making the payment for the supplier. Okay. And then during this process, there can be two exemptions. One exemption is maybe we don't receive what we ordered. One incident that can happen. We have not received what we ordered. Then what we do, we back order, we reorder, right? Reordering is referred here as back orders. Okay. I order. That's it. Then another incident can happen. We receive something we haven't ordered. Right? What is we haven't ordered? Maybe we ordered for quality goods, but we have received a different model or different quality. Maybe scrapped items. We didn't expect that, right? Then the next step comes, that is purchase returns. Purchased, identified, returned. Okay. These are the exemptions or two scenarios possible. This is the entire process. Now, from the last couple of sessions, we've been working in this process, right? So we created items, identified the requirement. Then we identified the suppliers, and today we are going to start the purchasing process. All right. Why am I always stressing on this process? We are learning each part of this process, right? This week and next week, by the completion of next week, you will be completing this process, purchasing. After that, we will think of the other process, sales. Okay, clear? Right. Now, before starting a particular major process, we used to set up the preferences. Why do we set preferences? In the system wide, why do we set preferences? Why do we usually set preferences? This is a general understanding, right? We set preferences because we want the system to work according to my preference. Right? We are going to set up the system according to our preference. That's it. All right. So we'll go to preferences, setup, and preferences. Under preferences, there are a number of tabs, but here we are interested in setting up the preferences related to purchases. Okay. For purchases, there is a special tab of preferences. I want you all to go into that. Look at the first preference, automatically print purchases when they are recorded, right? This is about a printing option, which is not relevant for us. We don't have printers connected to our computer, and we are, right? In a real company, you can use this option to ensure the purchase order, bill, or everything is printed as a hard copy, because still the accountants believe in printed documents. They still don't like to believe in digital documents, right? So that is okay to have it here as a real company, but for our learning, that is not relevant, right? Otherwise, it will be always prompting to a printing option. It is a disturbance for us. Number two, warn if supplier owes me money before making a supplier payment, right? If supplier owes me money before making a supplier payment, we can get a warning. How a supplier can owe me money? We discussed, I think, how a supplier can owe me money. Usually I owe my supplier. Supplier මමනේ ගෙවන්න ඕනේ. Supplier මට ණය වෙන්නේ කොයි වගේ වෙලාවද? Yeah. After making the payment, if purchase returns are identified. Right? After making the payment. After making the payment, if I identify something to be returned, then supplier will owe me money. Okay. Then there should be a warning before I pay. In this case, before I make a payment to the supplier, if there is an old any obligation that supplier owes me, please highlight that so I can deduct that and pay the balance. Okay. So that warning is important. So I let that tick to be there. Okay. Look at the third option. Apply supplier payments automatically to all the bill first. Is it a good preference to select? Now these are preferences, right? Your preference and my preference may be different. I want to ask your preference and with the logic. With the logic I want. Not because it's too lengthy, I don't like, you can't say like. There should be a reason why you pick that or not. Apply supplier payment automatically to the oldest bill first. Is it good? Come on, you all are going to be accountants, right? Make decisions. Make decisions. Shall we tick that? If you are the accountant, what will you do? Let's say I'm not here. You are the accountant, you are having the responsibility. Do you tick this? Yes, yes. There can be no also. That's why I wanted to have that debate. I'm selecting it because whenever I go to make the payment, the system will lock the oldest bill first. Then if I want to pay a different bill, I can change that. It's not a problem, right? If I want to change that, I can change it. But automatically it will shift to the oldest bill first for the internal control that I may not miss out any old invoices, right? Usually the supplier may not miss that. He will give a reminder one day, right? But as a corporate partner, it's bad to miss out invoices. Or we can't delay and say we missed it, right? It's bad impression for the company. Therefore, it's good to have that focus for the last invoice, oldest invoiced. Sorry, not the last invoice, the oldest invoice first, and then we keep on paying the supplier, right? Therefore, I'm selecting that. Apply. Okay. Why am I taking this much of time and explaining this preference? For the reason, right? You should understand the reason. Otherwise, I can say tick number 2, tick number 3, 5, 6, 8. That's it, right? You should understand why we are doing this. Because when you are working in a company, you may not have my IOB there. You may have a different system, right? If you don't, now you may remember, I should under purchasing, I am selecting 2, 3, 5, 7, and 8. But let's say you go somewhere and you find page tree, you find ERP, right? So there's nothing called purchase preferences, but you will have this idea, but you will have these options somewhere in the system, right? Then you should know what rule was there, what is the reason behind selecting it, right? You will have different interfaces to set up all these preferences. සමහර වෙලාව මේක automatically මේක අපිට create කරන්න වෙනවා මේ preference. Then you should know that. Okay, that is the purpose of learning this, not just learning this software, right? Learn computer accounting in a digitalized environment. Take a topic here, subject again, accounting in digitalized environment. Whatever the environment that is, you should be able to do that. Okay, look at number 4. Show supply invoice number in the supplier payment. Okay, so I can select, it's optional. If you want to have a reference, you can keep it. So let's select it. So the supply invoice number will be there printed in the payment. Then they can track. This payment is for this particular invoice. Okay. And then make a contact log entry for every purchase. It is good if you are having an internal control or internal auditing purposes. You want a contact log of all the entries separately as a document. But for our purpose, we will not go behind that much, right? And then next one is warn for duplicates. Remember, warning for duplicates is always important in any system, right? I select warn for duplicates and also from the drop down, I'm selecting both POs and supply invoices, both, right? Because if a PO is repeated, right? If a PO number is repeated, then the supplier will be confused of what to send, right? Is it the all purchase order? Have they sent a corrected purchase order with the same purchase order number, right? The supplier will be confused because PO is a legally binding document. That means you ordered it, you can't deny that. Okay. Therefore, to avoid the confusion, we don't need duplicated PO numbers. And duplicated invoice numbers again creates a confusion from our end. Right? This is not the supplier end now. It's from our end. Are we supposed to pay twice? Right? Is it a mistake from the supplier? So that confusion will be there from our side. Right? To avoid that, we better have no duplicates for both. Understood? Right? But that option is there if you are very confident your system doesn't repeat. If you are really sure, then you have that option to ignore one here. You can ignore the purchase, or maybe you can go with only purchase orders. Maybe only you can go with invoices, right? That is okay, but for better control, we will have both, right? And then retain original PO number on back orders, right? When you are placing a back order, when you are placing a reorder, whether to keep the original PO number in that, right? So it's a good, in one case it's good, depends on the company policy, right? If the company is placing a back order as a completely new order, then they can ignore this. But if you want to highlight this is a reordering from the previous order, you can include that as well. So we'll just click that, retain the original PO number. Next option. For the next preference, I need your suggestions. Delete the quotes. Quotes means the quotation. Upon changing to and recording as an order or bill. That means based on a quotation, we will be placing an order. Right? Once we place an order based on a quotation, are we supposed to delete the quotation? That is the question. Now in the system, we will be entering a quotation. Right? Based on that quotation, we will be placing purchase orders. Okay. After placing the purchase order, are we supposed to delete the quotation? My simple practical question. The question. Yes or no? Shall we delete it? No, we won't delete. Why? අර ගෙදර වගේ කුණු විසි කරන්න අකමැති නිසා. කඩුවක් ගෙනිච්චාම පැක් කරපු බොක්ස් එක විසි කරන්න ලෝපයි. Yeah. Payment කරද්දී different. There can be a comparison between the purchase order, invoice and the payment. I'm talking about quotation. Should we delete it or can we completely convert it as a purchase order and delete the quotation? Or keep it, still keep the quotation. Yeah. Auntie. Loudly, come on. Yeah. If there's a difference, I'm a bit old, even though I look young, I'm old. I can't hear you. Yeah. I can't hear you, seriously. Difference between quotation, right? Quotation එකේ purchase order එකේ අතර වෙනසක් තිබුණොත් අපිට ඒක identify කරන්න පුළුවන්. But the thing is, you may be calling for quotation for a list of items. Your purchase order may be anyway different, right? Okay, but you quotation එක ගන්න ඕනේ. ඒ වුණාට we are placing the order only for the required items. They don't have to be tallied. The practical reason is when you are calling for a quotation, I'm pretty sure you are not involved in the purchasing process in organization. You are working, no? Go and ask, don't you go to the purchasing department, procurement department. Go and ask from them how do you do that. When you are placing a purchase order based on the quotation is usually issued for a particular period. These prices are valid for 3 months, maybe 90 days. One, let's say half month, maybe 6 months, something. These prices are valid for this particular period. Within that period, we may be placing purchase orders multiple times using the same quotation. Right? That is how organizations work. You get a quotation, list of prices. Based on the same prices, we will be placing number of purchase orders. Then in the first time, if we delete the quotation again and again, we'll have to enter the quotation. We better keep the quotation with the same quotation. We can place multiple purchase orders. That is why we are not allowing it to delete. Understood? Then we do not select that. Okay. Do not delete the quotation upon converting into an order or bill. Warn if supplier does not have an ABN for purchases greater than $75. Anyway, if the supplier does not have an ABN, better to have a warning, because if we are dealing with a company that doesn't have an ABN, I mean registration number, the system applies a completely different tax rate, as I told you. Therefore, we will not record any transaction with the supplier, right? When you are creating a supplier, if an ABN is not given, at least give a fake ABN, right? To make sure the supplier is a registered supplier, registered business. නැත්තම් හොරට තියෙන business එකක් වගේ. ඒකත් එක්ක deal කරනකොට high tax rate will be applied. Okay? Therefore, we'll keep that. Click OK. We set the preferences related to the purchases. Okay. Then again, we are going to set up, if you are writing down notes, now we set the preferences. Then we want to link the accounts for purchasing, right? We are going to link the accounts for purchasing. As I told you, when we were setting the accounts list, we removed certain links, we removed certain functions. Then I told you, when we start the process, we will set up the links again, right? We'll make sure the links are properly set before starting the major process. Now we are going to do that, setting the links. There, go to setup and go to linked accounts. Under that, you have 4 major categories. One is accounts and banking, then sales and sales accounts, then purchases accounts and payroll accounts. Now we are going to set up the purchases accounts. Select purchases accounts. All right. Then liability account for tracking payables. When we make purchases, there will be creditors. What is the liability account? We are going to record that. Trade creditors account is already selected, and that is correct. Okay. If something is correct, we don't have to change it. If something is missing, we have to select it. And if something is wrong, we have to correct it. All right. Trade creditors is correct. And then the bank account for paying bills, it has selected Sampath Bank current account, which is the only current account we have for payments. All right. So we will keep that as it is. And then I can receive items without a supplier bill. Then what is the liability account for items received? Accounts payable, accrual, inventory. That is the account. That means when I receive items without an invoice, now I have not recorded a purchase, right? But I have debited the inventory. I have the inventory, but there's no way to, no place to credit them, right? Therefore, because I have not received the invoice, without the invoice, you can't record a transaction. Source document, that is the source document, right? Without the source document, you can't record a transaction. Therefore, until then, there should be a temporary account to keep your transaction. That is accounts payable, accrual, payable, inventory. All right, that is the right account. Make sure if it is not selected, you select it. And then I pay freight on purchases. In my company file, I have deselected. I have removed the tick. I removed this tick because I wanted to create some accounts modifications. Can you remember? After accounts modify කරන්න බැරි වුණාම අපි ඇවිල්ලා මේ වයින් කරලා දාලා ගියා. Can you remember that? Right? Now this is removed. Therefore, I want to make that link again. I pay freight on purchases, and this freight is on purchases, right? When I purchase something, I must pay freight. All right, I must pay freight. Then see whether there is an account called freight inwards. Freight inwards, right? Because goods are coming inwards, the freight I pay on them, freight inwards. Select the freight inwards account. And then I track deposits paid to suppliers. Okay. When I make a payment for a supplier prior to the goods received, right? When I make a payment to a supplier prior to goods received, so that is becoming an asset to me. That's an asset, right? Why? I have not received the goods, I have made the payment. So the supplier is liable to me. Therefore, it's an asset, right? Then that is prepaid deposits account, right? If you want to double check, you can click this drop down arrow and see whether that is an asset account, right? Whether the selected account is an asset account, you can check using that drop down arrow. So in front of this, if you missed it, in front of this, there's a drop down arrow to pick the account. From that, you can see in the list which account I have picked and what is the category of that particular account. It's an asset account. Then I take discounts for early payments. I have not selected it, right? Again, what a discount and then it's not selected. Supply. Okay. I'm going to take that, right? I'm going to have it. I'm not going to have it. Right? You are going to have it, right? The supply is going to give you a discount. Take it, please. So I take that discount and the account should be usually a discount received account is an income account, right? Discount received is an income account, right? A-level accounting. Are you sure? Right, it's an income account. Here it says an expense or a contra account. Expense contra account. That means we are selecting that as an expense account, but the entry will go as a contra, right? In MyOB, discounts received and discounts paid will be accumulated and the net value will be considered. Okay. Therefore, we will select there is an account called discounts not discounts allowed. Discounts allowed karane apine discounts received. Discounts received account. There is a discounts received account. You better select it. Discounts received. Okay. When you press tab, it will tell you this account you have selected should be usually an expense account, but in our system, we maintain a separate income account for this. Okay. They expect us to maintain the same account for discount received and paid, the same expense account, and to take the net value, right? But in our system, we are convenient with two accounts. For one account for discount received, another account for discounts paid. Therefore, we have a discount received account. So we are selecting. Okay. We just click OK. Knowing that it's an income account, we select. All right. Then I pay charges for late payments. If there is a late payment required, I can't say I don't pay, because if the supplier asks me to pay, I'll have to pay, right? Late charges. Maybe later we won't deal with the supplier, that's a different story. But if the supplier asks us to pay a late fee, we are supposed to pay. Then what is the account? That is late fees paid. Late fees paid already selected in my case. If in your case it's not selected, better select, right? Late fees paid. All right. Link the accounts. All done? Done. Right. So these are the linked accounts for purchases. You can click OK. Right. Now the process is complete. I mean, background is complete. Background is properly set. Now we are going to see how this purchases is going to work. Let's go to the purchases command center. Right. Now in your notes, we are going to start purchases. Right. Go to purchases command center. What is the function we are going to start the purchases is enter purchases function, right? Enter purchases function. Here you can see that link. You can click on that particular link, right? Enter purchases function is the function we are using to enter a purchase to MyOB. All right. When we are entering a purchase, what is the process? We can enter the quotation first and then the PO based on that quotation and then the invoice we are going to enter, right? You can look at this interface. This is the format where you can enter purchases. On the top left hand corner, you can see there's a drop down arrow, right? There's a drop down. Click on that drop down. There are three options, right? When you click on that drop down, there are three options. One is quote, that is quotation. Number two, it's order. You can directly enter an order, right? And the third one is bill. Bill is the invoice, right? Bill is the invoice you are going to enter, right? That means the same format will work for all three categories of the documents. When you just select a quotation, right? Quote, you can see the same document, the same format, but color is different. Only the color changes. And when you select order, again the color changes in the same format. And also you can select it as a bill, then it's blue color, right? It's just a color difference. And also I'm sure you can remember the layouts we discussed, right? This format is having different layouts. Okay. Now let me ask a question. There were four major layouts. You can remember, right? There were four major layouts, and out of the four, the main two layouts are service layout and item layout, right? We talked about the service layout and the items layout. Can someone tell me what is the difference between the service layout and items layout? Quantity. Good. One feature. What is the main difference between service layout and item layout? The definition could be a question in your mid-semester quiz. Yeah, difference between the service layout and the item. Service layout again, item layout again. Yeah. Exactly. We use items layout when we are purchasing items in our items list. If you are purchasing something from our items list, we use the item layout. If you are purchasing something without, outside our items, right? Anything that is not listed in our items list, then we are using the service layout, right? So the columns in the layouts reflect that. Now this is, if you go to layouts, here you can see when you select the service layout, it shows very few columns. Actually, there is no place to enter the quantity, right? Because when you enter the quantity, system cannot identify it with another item because you are not going to purchase anything from your items list, right? But when you go to the items layout, you can see number of columns, including the quantities, bill, receive, back order, all quantities are there because it can deal with quantities from the items you have in the item list, right? Item එක තියෙනවා, quantity එක දුන්න ගමන් item එක ගන්න, calculate කරන්න, right? Yeah, that is the nature. Okay. Now, having said that, I want you to open. Now we are going to record purchases, right? For us to record purchases, we should have some information about the transaction. So there is a document uploaded in the LMS page. As I told you to open that. Purchases and purchasing and placing orders. Right. Now, first of all, we are going to enter a few purchase orders based on the service layout, right? What is the meaning of service layout or service layout orders? We are going to purchase things that are outside my items list, right? We are going to purchase certain things that are outside my items list, right? Look at the first order number one. Supplier is Malinga Bats and Balls Private Limited. Date is 8th April 2023. Goods ordered 100 leather balls at 500 each, right? You should remember leather balls were not there in our items list, right? Leather balls were not there in our items list. So here, these leather balls are ordered for the use on the cricket ground. It is not to sell. Okay? It is not to resell. It is to use in the ground. Therefore, this is outside your items list. Okay? So we are going to order this. Accounting treatment, expense to ground maintenance account. The cricket balls used on practices are not expected to last more than a year, right? Since these are used for the daily usage, someone can think this can be considered as fixed asset, right? But it clearly says you can't use it for more than 1 year. Therefore, it is to be expensed, right? And also in accounting, we have this treatment called materiality concept. You can remember materiality concept, right? One classic example we take is the cutlery items in a hotel. Can you remember that? In A-levels, we learned this. Cutlery items in a hotel, if you take a hotel, they are using the cutlery items that are used for years. අවුරුදු 5කට කලින් ගියාම නම් සමහරට ඒ කට්ලරීස්ම තමයි තාමත් තියෙන්නේ hotel එක. Because they are long lasting. ඔය හැදි ගෑරුප්පු තියෙනවා. They are best quality product they have. They are using that for like 4-5 years. But compared to the investment in the hotel, this is very small. The price of the cutlery items. No million ගාණක් invest කරපු hotel එක. This takes only 200,000-300,000. Right? Then they don't consider that as a property plant equipment and they don't depreciate. It's worthless to include that type of small amount in the PPE schedule. Right? So considering the materiality, they expense that to that particular period. Understood? Materiality. The leather balls are also the same. It is anyway not having a useful life of more than 1 year. Therefore, we are supposed to expense this to the ground maintenance account. Right. Now we will see how to record this particular purchase order. Let's go to the enter purchase using the enter purchase function, right? Under purchases command center, the enter purchases function. We are now going to enter a purchase order, right? Because they did not talk anything about a quotation, right? Even though that should have been the process, they are directly placing a purchase order for these items, right? They may be not having a quotation for this. The reason is they are not going to keep on ordering this. This is a one-off purchase, right? මේක විතරයි ගන්න. එතකොට quotation එකක් අරගෙන ලොකු process එකක් යන්නේ නෑ usually, right? Then we will convert the format into an order, right? Convert the format into an order, right? And then change the layout into service. Because these are service layout orders. Okay. Change the layout into service. Okay. At the bottom, you have a button called layout. From that, you better change it as service. Right. Again, change this to an order. Right. Make sure the format is order. The format color should be yellow. Format color should be yellow if it's an order and layout should be service. Okay. All right. Then the first thing we are supposed to enter is the supplier name. The supplier name is Malinga Bats and Balls Private Limited. When you type half of its name, it will automatically fill the entire section. And after selecting the supplier, you can press the tab key. Then you can see automatically the information of the supplier is filled. And along with that, your layout has changed. Again, the layout has changed to item. Why? When we were creating the supplier, we gave that information. For this particular supplier, the layout should be items, right? But unfortunately, we are purchasing something under the service layout now. Now better go back and change the layout into service. Go back and change the layout into service. Okay. Make sure these information are correctly selected. Malinga Bats and Balls selected as the supplier, and then you have selected the layout as service layout. Yeah. And then you can see the purchase number. Purchase number is 0001, automatically selected number. We can continue the same numbering Or else, if we have a very specific numbering system, we can use that as well. Then the system will keep on counting. Right? GHK මොනවහරි දාලා then the number, the purchase order number. Again, the system will be counting the rest of the numbers. Right? Here we will keep that as 001 and the date. Right? Enter the correct date in the correct format. The date is picked from the computer systems format, system date format. In my computer, the date goes as month, date, and then the year. Right? 7th is the month, 25th is the date, and then the year. You have to use the same format. And let's see, the date is 8th April 2023. So I enter April 1st, 8 is the date, and 2023 is the year. All right. April 8, 2023. Okay. Then get the items we have purchased, 100 leather balls at 500 each. Okay. So I'm lazy to type this, therefore I'm copying and pasting this part. This is the transaction. Huh? The description, you could have typed this, but I'm copying and pasting from the document. 100 leather balls at 500. So under the description, I am pasting it. If you don't know how to copy and paste, type it. Okay. If you are lazy, you should know the technology. Any issues? No. Any issues? No, right? Right. Then this is the description of the transaction and the account name to which account this transaction will be recorded or debited. All right. In this transaction, in this scenario, it's clearly given it should be debited to the ground maintenance account. So select the ground maintenance cost. That's an account called ground maintenance cost. You can type them. Then the amount. What is the amount? What is the amount you are supposed to enter here? 50,000. 50,000, right? Now, I know it's convenient to calculate 500 into 100. So it's very easy. But if this number was complicated, if let's say each ball worth 223 rupees multiplied by we are purchasing 128 balls. Then can you do this? Then what are you going to do? You are going to, how are you going to calculate this? Is that clear what I'm saying? The make a 500 and 100 is the Hari show. If it was a complicated number, how are you going to, what are you going to do? Computer's accounting package calculate. You don't have to. There is a calculator embedded in the system. When you go to the amount tab, right? Press the space key in your keyboard. Keyboard key, space key. Then you get a calculator. Do you get? Right? It's not magic. It's just an embedded calculator. Right? So you get the calculator. Even though it's a simple number, we'll try it. Right? Just to practice. 100 multiplied by multiplication by 500.
Okay. Then press the equal button. Then it's 50,000. Okay. Got that? The local make a matter of body calculation. Practice the technique. Practice using the calculator, the technique. At the exam, that may be a miserable number. Okay, to calculate. So learn that technique. And press the tab key. Okay. Then press the tab key, and you get to enter a job number or job information. There's no need of it. Then that is inclusive because for ground maintenance cost account, we have linked the VAT tax code, right? Therefore, VAT tax code is here included. And then you can see here at the bottom, you can include a comment. Okay, let's take pick up as soon as possible. Let's say I selected that. You can select anything you like for the comment. There's no rule for that, right? Maybe final sale. I am got final sale. Happy Easter, happy holiday, whatever it is, you can pick. I'm selecting pick up as soon as possible. Okay. Then ship via pickup, that is already selected. Then you can see the subtotals and totals here. There is no any freight charge included. There's no anything about it. And no any paid today amount, right? Supplier has not mentioned to pay anything today. Then the total amount is 50,000 and the balance due is 50,000. So that is equal. The two lines are equal. And now we are supposed to record it. Before recording a transaction, we could see the double entry of it. What is the technique? Keyboard shortcut. Control plus R. What is the name of the technique? Recap the transaction. Try to recap this. There is no transaction to record. Recap. මොකද්ද මේ කියන කතාව? මොකද්ද මේ කතාවේ තේරුම නේද? There's no you have entered a transaction by entering a lot of things, but it says there's no transaction. The system is right. Why? Entering a purchase order is not a transaction. In accounting, the transaction starts with the source document. For a purchase, the source document is the invoice. Unless you start the invoice, unless you enter the invoice, there is no transaction. This is like just a part of the process and a legally binding document. All right. System accounting right. So this is not a transaction. That is true. Okay. Therefore, you can't recap a purchase order or a quotation. You can recap only a bill. When there is a source document, only you can recap. Okay. Right. Then you can click on the record button. Click on the record button. Again, a notice. So what is the notice? This is going to exceed the credit limit given by the supplier. Knowing that we will click OK. හරි ඒක අපි කතා කරගන්න supply එක කියලා click on OK. Right. So it is recorded. All right. It's recorded. Then cancel this format. After recording it, cancel. After recording it, cancel this format. And then go to the purchase register. Under purchase command center, go to the purchase register to see the purchases we have recorded. There you have to set the first search by all suppliers. Keep it as all suppliers. And then set the date range. Set the date range to our financial year. Our financial year is April 1st, 2023 to anything. Right? But starting date should be at least 1st of April 2023. Right? April 1st, 2023. Right? And then press the tab key. So you can see under all purchases, there is a purchase order appearing. The purchase order we entered. All right. And in front of that purchase order, there is that nice arrow we have. What is the name of that arrow? The white zoom arrow, right? The white zoom arrow. You can click on that and see the editable version of the purchase order. If you want to edit anything in this purchase order, maybe the quantity, maybe the items, whatever, you can make those changes. All right, you can edit it and click OK to save the edited content. Click OK. All right. So you can see in this purchase register, okay, the purchase register is arranged according to the purchasing process. Okay. Look at the first tab, it is quotes because process is starting with the quotation, right? Then you have the purchase order. There are no any quotations, right? There are no any quotes. And next tab is orders because after the quotation we place the purchase order, right? Then there is one purchase order. And after ordering, what happens? It's open, it's a bill, and we say it's open bill because we have not settled. A bill which is not settled, that is called open bill, right? After open bill, if there is any returns, purchase returns, we will enter that returns and debits. Okay. And after clearing all the problems, we will make the payment, then it becomes a closed bill. Right? Make it abstract process order. All right. Now we have started the purchase order, right? First purchase order. Once we receive the invoice and record it, this will jump to the open bill. Right? When it's complete, it goes to the closed bills. That is the process, right? Now, first transaction is first order is entered. Are we good with that? Then look at the order number 2. Prime Sport Imports Private Limited is the supplier. Date is 9th April. Then we are ordering, instead of one item, we are ordering 3 items. Not 3, 4 items. Right? 4 items. All right. We are ordering multiple items. And then for each item, what is the expense account is specified. Okay. For tractor, they are purchasing a tractor. It should be debited to ground equipment at cost account, and tax code should be capital tax cap, right? Then ground another bats and balls collector. For that, again ground equipment at cost account. 10 rubber mats at 650 each. So those rubber mats will be fixed at the building. Therefore, it should be debited to the building cost account. And then 10 sets of hire bats for hiring, not for resale purpose, for hire purpose. They are buying 10 bats, and that should be again debited to ground equipment at cost account. All these are capital taxation is the tax code, right? So that is the information. Now we are supposed to follow the same process of recording the purchase order. These are purchase orders, right? And let me tell you a convenient method of creating purchase orders. Now, what is the step you are supposed to follow? You can close this. You can go to the enter purchases and then you can enter the purchase, right? Purchase order, that is the process, right? But I'm suggesting you at the examination and when you are practicing, we should always go with the convenient and error-free method, right? The make a long process, enter purchase. The error-free and convenient method is you always be with the purchase register, right? Make this your Bible, make this your entire thing, right? Being in this register, you go to the orders tab, right? You go to the orders tab, all right? And at the bottom, there is a button called new order, right? Click that new order. Again, you will be directed to the same format, right? And why this is important and why this is more accurate, when you are in the orders tab, it will not open your bills. It will open your order. Bill format. You are supposed to change it accordingly. Right? And drop down quotation bill right? But when you are in the orders tab, it will obviously open an order. One month so colors are given to identify especially this is a bill, this is an order, this is a quotation. Some people enter a bill in the place of an order, forgetting the color. Then for them, this is more convenient. Obviously, this is an order, right? So use it. Then we will select the supplier, Prime Sports Imports. Okay. Then you can see the information of private spots will be applied, and the date should be 9th of April. Date should be 9th of April. And then you are supposed to change the layout, right? This is an item layout. You have to change the layout as service. Change the layout to service. And now we'll enter the items one by one, right? One tractor used to cut grass on the ground at 85,000. Right? In the service layout, you can enter anything to the description, right? It's just a text box. You can enter any, write anything. Right? Then amount is obviously 85,000. Sorry, it's account, right? Account. Account name is what? Account name is ground equipment at cost. Ground equipment at cost. Once you select the account and press the tab, enter the account and try to press the tab, you get a message. What is the message? The account used to allocate a purchase is usually an expense account or cost of sales account. That is true, right? System is true. But knowing that we are entering the purchase of a capital item, just press OK. මේ system එක අහන්නේ ඔයාලට වැරදිලාද කියලා. කියනවා නෑ දැනගෙන කරන්නේ. Okay. Right. Click OK. And the amount is 85,000. All right. The amount is 85,000. Then you can see not taxable is the tax code given, but the tax code should be capital tax, right? Tax code should be capped. Then, all right. Then the next item, one bats and balls collector attached to the tractor. Right, one bats and balls collector, that is also to be debited to ground equipment at cost. Again, I know this is not cost of sales, right? The amount is 37,000. Tax code is capped. Right. The next item is 10 rubber mats at 650 each. Again, an easy calculation, but if you want to practice, you can use the calculator. Buildings at cost is the account. Cap is the tax code. 10 sets of fire vans. Right, ground equipment. All right. If the information accurately entered,
and then you can record it. Last one.
Okay, right? If you all have entered this information, you can click on the record button. Click the record button. Of course, it's going to exceed the credit limit. Okay, right. Now that is recorded. Now you can see under orders, there are two orders. One order for Malinga bats and balls, the other order for Prime Sports imports, right? And in the next layout, we are going to enter orders using the items layout, right? Now previously those were service layout orders. The reason is those items were not there in my items list. Now we are going to place purchase orders based on the items layout. Okay, that means these items are there in my items list. So look at the transaction. You can look at the given information under items layout orders. Order number 3. Supplier is Prime Sport Imports Private Limited. Date is 9th April 2023. Received a quotation for following item. Right. Now we are going to enter the right process. These are items we are going to purchase continuously. Therefore, we are calling for a quotation from this particular supplier. All right. So the quotation contains details about 100 of each type of handles, then altogether 300 handles. RP cord handles, that means RP cord handles 100, RP rubber handles 100, and RP wood handles 100. That is the information, right? 100 from each, altogether 300. Price per item is 400 and the box price is 8,000. That means this item is coming in boxes. Okay. If you can remember, we discussed this like 3 weeks ago. Purchasing items creation. When we were creating items, we had something called buying unit of measure. Can you remember? Buying unit of measure? Buying unit of measure for these handles and blades that were boxes of 20 items. Boxes of 20 items. Api dozens enter kara. Boxes of 20 can enter kara. Each can enter kara samhare. That information is important when you are making this purchase. Here, 100 items, but the price per box is also given. Even if you look at the price difference, 8,000 is the price of a box. Divide by 400, it's 20 items. Right? That means each box contains 20 handles, right? Then these are the information. And then please refer the items layout, items list for buying unit of measure and tax code is well. You can go and refer to the buying unit of measure to identify how many units are there in a box. Okay. And then 100 of each types of blade. Again, 400 blades. White willow blade, willow wood blade, aluminium metal, reinforced, all 4 types of blades. And again, the item price is given and the box price is also given. Please refer to item list for buying unit of measure details. And this is the quotation details. These are the details for the quotation. After the quotation, order was placed on 10th of April. Right. 9th of April, we received the quotation. Right. On 10th of April, we placed the purchase order. Now that is the story. Right. First of all, we are supposed to enter the quotation into the system. All right. Okay. Start working. Huh? Okay. If not, I don't disturb others. Then we'll open the same purchase register. In the same purchase register, we will go to the quotes. Okay, we will go to the quotes. And there we don't have any, right? We are going to now enter the first quotations. Click on the new quote. Click on the new quote. In the new quote, we'll select it's the same story, right? The same story, same document. Now, first we are going to select the supplier, Prime Sports. Prime Sports. When you select the supplier, they give us an information. Are you going to pick information from an existing order? Because we have an existing order from this supplier, right? We supply the order information, right? No, this is a completely different order. Therefore, I cancel that. All right. Then you can see when you select Prime Sport, automatically it is changed into items layout, right? If you go to layout, you can see item layout is already selected. Okay. then you don't have to worry about that. And the quotation entered on 9th of April, that is also selected accurately in my case. If not, you are supposed to enter the date properly. April 9th, right? April 9th, 2023. And then the quantity. Now we will enter the first item, RP coordinates. 100 of each. 100 of each we are supposed to enter. Then there is another story called these are purchased as boxes of 20 items. Right. Then what is the quantity am I going to enter here? What is the quantity? Is it 100? Or we have another number, that is 100 items divided by 20 items per box. There are 5 boxes. There are 2 numbers, right? There are 2 numbers. For you to refer to that, in the same system, being in the same format, you can go to the lists. Okay, you can go to the list and items, right? Items, and we will look at what is the first item? RP code handle. RP code handle, right? Select the RP code handle, white zoom arrow, and there you can go to the buying details. All right, I'm here exploring the information of buying details. There you can see buying unit of measure is a box, and the items per buying unit is 20. Okay, meaning is whatever the number I enter as quantity in my quotation or a purchase order will be multiplied by 20. All right, whatever the number I enter in my volume or quantity column will be multiplied by this number. Therefore, I'll click OK and I'll close this. I'll close this, right? Because that was for my information. Therefore, what is the number am I going to enter here? 5. All right. Is that clear? How we arrived at that number? There are 20 items coming in a box. We are ordering 100 items. It's not 100 boxes, right? It's 100 items. 100 items divided by 20, it is 5 boxes. Therefore, it's 5. Quantity is 5. And then in the next column, we can enter the item. Item we can enter with the item name, RP code handles, right? RP code handle. When you type the first 2 letters RP and space, it will automatically give you this information, right? Autofill function, we call that. Then you can press the tab key, and then in the price tab, you can enter the price of what? Price of a unit or a box. Price of a box. Why? In this format, quantity will be multiplied by the price. Okay, the price should reflect the quantity. Therefore, if it's 5 boxes, the price should be the price per box. That is 8,000. Right, 8,000. Then total and the taxes are calculated, right? Then the total will be calculated. Tax code is VAT, right? That is the tax code we are this item is having. All right, are you okay with that? Right. Then same way we will create the other 2. Right. 5 boxes of what? RP rubber handle. RP rubber handle. Price per box is 5,000. Right. Then another 5 items from the RP wood handle. RP wood handle. And the price is 7,000. Okay. Enter the information for all 3 types of handles.
Pricing right now, what is calculate right now?
Okay, so after entering all three types of handles, then there is another set of blades, right? 100 from each blade, 4 types of blades. So we'll continuously enter the blades. Blades are also coming as boxes, right? Boxes of 20. So 5 boxes of willow wood blade. The price per box is 10,000. Then another 5 boxes of white willow blade. Lama, it's a same quotation, right? It's a same quotation for both handles and blades. Okay. Then white willow blade. White willow blade price is 9,000. Another 5 boxes from aluminium metal blade. The price is 11,500. Another 5 boxes from reinforced. The price is 13,000 per box. This should be the quotation.
I can say that. 5 item වලට ගියාට පස්සේ පැහැදිලිව පේනවා 100 වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒකේම තමයි multiply. ඒ කියන්නේ මේක වෙන්නේ මෙතන 5ට ගණන් 5 කියන ඇතුලේ 20 වැඩි කරලා මෙතන එන්ටර් කරන්න box එකට boxes ගන්න නිසා මෙතන එන්ටර් කරන්න පුළුවන් box එක right. යාගේ හිතම යාගේ multiply Right. Now here we are entering a quotation, right? We are entering a quotation into the system. Have you entered all this information? Right. Then there's a button. It's not to record, it's to save the quotation, right? There's nothing to record, it's to save it. Collected the quotation from the supplier, and now we are going to save that particular quotation in our system. Make sure date is 9th of April, okay? Save quote. It's going to exceed, that's okay. Right. So we entered the quotation, then cancel this format. Then you can see in the purchase register, under quotes, there is a quotation. Okay. You can see there's a quotation. Then in the same transaction, the last line says, order was placed on 10th of April. For these items, we have, because this is a quotation, right? For the quoted items, we are placing a purchase order immediately the next day. Right? Now, how did we enter a purchase order previously? We opened a new purchase order and then we entered all this information that are ordered. But now we already have a quotation we have recorded in the system. Based on that quotation, the same exact prices, same exact quantities we are going to order. Right? Therefore, we don't have to enter all the information from the beginning. From the quotation, we can directly place the purchase order. Right? That is the importance of having a system. Right? Ignore the duplication of work. Right? Then what am I going to do is, I go to the quotations. Then let's say, since we have only one quotation, this is the only thing we have. In a company, you will have a list of quotations. From the list, you will pick what is the right quotation to place the purchase order. Okay, and then at the bottom there are two buttons. One is to change to order. The other is to change to bill directly. Order bill. But here we are following the process. We are placing the purchase order. Right. After selecting this, you can click on change to order. Right. Click on change to order. Then you can see with same information, you started an order. Right? This is an order, right? Purchase order. Then you can check if there are any changes you want to make. That quotation order there can be differences. If you have to make any differences, you can make any changes, right? Change but in this case, according to the given scenario, we don't have to change anything. Same thing we have ordered. Therefore, you can click on the record button. Right? Date. Sorry, there's one thing to change. Thank you. There's one thing to change. It's date. The order date was 10th. Right? Order date is 10th. The only thing to change is the date.
take the data as 10 and then click on the record button. Okay. It's going to purchase number 3 has been previously been used. Okay, we will continue that. And it's going to exceed the credit limit. Okay. Right. After recording it, cancel this format and see under orders, right? Under orders, a new order is being created, right? A new order being created for the price spot imports. If you want to just open and see using the white zoom arrow, you can open and see it's the same order we placed using the quotation. Okay, using the quotation we placed this order, and also the quotation remains the same. Quotation because in preferences we told the system to keep the quotation after converting into an order. Otherwise, the quotation would have been deleted. Okay, right. You can cancel this. You can close that. All right. So order number 3 is done. Are you okay with entering items layout orders? How to enter a quotation? How to convert the quotation into an order? Right. Even if you want to directly enter an order, purchase order without a quotation, the same procedure you can use. You don't have to enter quotation, right? You can open directly a purchase order, then enter this information as it is. Just place the order. Quotation I call we anyway know the prices. We call the quotation. We place the purchase order. All right. Need a break? Okay, we'll take a break. Time is 4:45. Take maximum 15 minutes. Sharp at 5 o'clock come because we are supposed to complete the orders and finish. Mark your attendance and go. Completed ලකුණු වෙනස් වෙනවා. ඒක වෙනවා. ඒක නැත්තම් වැඩක් නැහැ නේ කන්ටිනියස් දෙන එකේ. දකුණු අඩු වෙනවා. ඒ වුණාට කම්ප්ලීට් එහෙම එනවා දැන් 2 එකයි 3 එකයි සබ්මිට් කරාම ඉතින් ඒක යපා. ඕකේ. ඒක ඇටෙන්ඩන්ස් වගේ තමයි ඉතින්. එදා ආවේ නැත්තම් ඉතින් ආයේ මවන්නේ ආවේ නැහැ තමයි. ආට යූස් කරන්න ඕනේ වෙන ටික විතරක් කරගත්තාම ඇති. දැන් අර account search කරනකොට නම් name එක search කරන්න, items name එක search කරන්න, ඒ වගේ ඒක තමයි අපි revision එකේදී කතා කරන්නේ.
Speaking of subject,
All right. Okay. Shall we start then? Look at order number 4, right? Look at order number 4. Now that order is placed to Satin Sports Private Limited. The date is 11th April And you can see 20 pairs of platinum convertible shoes, right? 10 pairs of house hat junior and 10 pairs of Luna Accelerator. So when it comes to shoes, right? Come on. When it comes to shoes were purchased as pairs, but that was each, right? One unit per purchasing unit of measure, by unit of measure. Therefore, there is no any adjustment here about the buying unit of measure. So it's a usual transaction, usual purchase order. You just enter the items, enter the quantities and the prices. But there is a special feature. At the order placing, 25,000 is paid today as an advance to confirm the order. There are certain suppliers, they ask for an advance. Maybe the supplier is not sure about you, right? Maybe for any reason, for some reason, they are asking for an advance payment, right? 25,000. So that is the additional learning point here. Otherwise, it's the same purchase order. You enter, right? Even it's easier, right? No any unit of measure story. It's very easy. Only additional learning is when there is a paid today amount, how to record it. Okay. So we'll go to the purchase register and start recording it. I'll go to the purchase register. It's an order, right? It's not a quotation. It's not a quote. It's directly a purchase order. So under orders, I create a new order. The supplier is Sachin Sports. Right. And the date is 11th April. So I change the date. Layout is items. Item layout. Make sure it is converted into item layout. And order, when it comes to order, you have to enter the order quantity, right? Order quantity is 20 and the item is platinum convertible Puma shoe. Okay. Under the order column, you have to enter the quantity, and then under the item number, when you search with the name, the item will appear as platinum convertible Puma shoe. And the price is 2,500 per pair. Right, 2,500 per pair. We have directly entered the quantity because there is no any buying unit of measure calculation, right? It's purchased as each pairs. Then the next line is house at junior, 10 pairs of house at junior Adidas shoe. The price is 1,800 per pair. Then another 10 pairs of Luna accelerated. $3,200. Okay. So look at the total order value. Order value is 100,000, but we are going to make a payment today. So here you can see in the yellow color column section, you can see paid today amount, right? Paid today amount. There I'm going to enter that 25,000 paid today. All right. So you can see total amount is 100,000. Paid today is 25,000, and then the balance due is 75,000. Okay. When we were placing purchase orders, right, we tried to recap the transaction to see the double entry, but that didn't work. Can you remember? That didn't work. I'm just telling you, try to do that again in this transaction, in this particular order. Try to recap. Controller. You get a double entry, right? You are getting a double entry. Why? There is a transaction in this order. The payment you are going to make, the 25,000 payment you are going to make is becoming a transaction. Even though the order is not, the payment is a transaction. Directly bank will be credited and the prepaid deposits will be debited. Okay. So having that understanding, we'll record this transaction. Click on record. The check will be entered. You can click OK. Then transaction is recorded, or transaction is recorded at the same time order is placed, order is recorded. All right. If you just want to check that, you can cancel this format, and under orders, you can see here order number 4, Sakin Sports Private Limited. Amount is 100,000 and the amount due is 75,000. Right. That difference is due to the paid today amount. All right. That, yeah. What is required to bank to transfer the amount on the option. But we are entering the check. The check is not reported. Now, the new learning from that particular transaction is how to record a transaction when there is a paid today amount. Okay. Then we'll quickly go to the next transaction. Now, you know the process, right? You know how to create a quotation. You know how to enter a purchase order. The process, the layouts, all the things you know. Now, just try to grab the new learning point of each order. Right? In each order, there is a new learning point. Try to grab that. So it covers all the varieties of transaction. Right? Now, the next transaction is look at the transaction or the order. Supplier is Malinga Bats and Balls. Date is 11th April. And item list is now the buying items are 60 rubber and wood cricket bats in 2 models. Model, I mean the main model is there, but within that there are 2 sub variants of the models. Maybe the color is different, maybe the stickers are different, something, right? But the same model. Then you can see model 1, 13 model 1 and 13 model 2. That is how they bought the 60 items, right? Then there is another one, 60 MRF cricket bats. Again, there are 2 models. Model A, 30 items, and model B, 30 items, right? And the other 2, it's normal. It's all 60 in same model, and it's given. Price per dozen is given. Price per dozen is also given. The meaning is cricket bats were purchased in dozens, if you can remember. If you can't remember, now maybe it's hard to remember because there is a lengthy list of items. If you can't remember, what you can do is you can go to the list, items, and you can find a cricket bat. There are cricket bats. Bradbury cricket bats, let's say. I open that and I go to the buying details. There I can see the cricket bats are bought in dozens. Each item contains 12 items, 12 bats, right? Each buying unit, I mean, there are 12 items per buying unit of measure. Okay, clear? You can enter කරනකොට 12ක් represent වෙනවා ඒක. That is the meaning. Yeah, 12 pack ගන්න. 12 set ගන්න. Then having that understanding, now you need a bit of calculation. Here 60, now we'll enter line by line. 60 lever and wood cricket bats in two models. If it's 60 considered as dozens, how many dozens are there for 60 items? Dozen contains 12 items. Then to enter 60 items in the system, how many dozens should we enter? 5 dozens. And again 30 divided into two submodels. Then each representing 2.5 dozens. Right? 2.5 dozens. This is a bit of a calculation. Right? 2.5 dozens. When you enter 2.5 only, it will multiply that by 12 and identify that as 30 items. Understood? Decimal base of real life but just to understand, for you to understand, this is how the calculations may work. And okay, right now we'll start entering this order. It's an order, right? Nothing about quotation. It's an order. So under orders, let me create a new order. Okay, supplies Malinga bats and balls. So I am not going to pick from any previous purchase orders. So I cancel that pop-up. The date is 11th April. Okay, it's accurate in my case. And order quantity, first order quantity is 2.5 for me, right? 2.5. What is the meaning of this 2.5? 2.5 dozens of that one particular model, right? 2.5 of lever and wood cricket bats. And in the description, right? Carefully look at this. In the description, in front of the model name, I am mentioning the specialty, that as model 1, right? Because there are two models. Description is given editable for us to include this type of additional details. Okay, the description is given as editable because we want to enter some of this additional information like this, model 1. Then the price is price per dozen you have to enter. Right? Price per dozen you have to enter 18,000. Okay. Then similarly, there's another 2.5 dozens of the same lever and wood cricket bats, but in the description that contains model 2. Model 2, right? 18,000. Okay. Is that clear? Is that adjustment clear? Then the same adjustment goes for the next item as well, right? Another 2.5 dozens from MRF cricket bats. Again, in the description, you have to specify that as model A. Model A. The price is 18,900. Then another 2.5 dozens of MRF. And in the description, you have to specify model B. Price is 18,900. All right. Then in the next model, there are no submodels, right? There are no subcategories. It's directly 60 bats, meaning is it's 5 dozens, right? Directly 5 dozens of Bradbury cricket bats. Price is 19,800. Then the next item is 60 AS Sports. So again, 5 dozens AS Sports. The price is 21,600. All right. Okay. The learning here is when there are submodels in a particular item, you can modify that in the description column. That is the new learning. Description column editable learning. You are editable for you to enter additional information, different information. And see how the 5 units of measure is working with decimals. Even. Okay. If this information is entered properly, you can click on record button. Click on the record button. Okay. Right. So just to show you in the right. So this is how it should be. How the items and the value, total value should be 391,500. Total purchase order value should be 391,000. Okay, are we all done? All done? Right. Then we'll go to the next transaction, next order actually. Order number 6. In order number 6, there is no any complicated calculation. It's just 5 bags from each type, and they are bought in as single units. There is no any buying unit of measure adjustment, just the price and the quantity. So I want you all to do that. Let's enter that order. There's no any complex adjustments. Okay, let's do it. Okay, right? If these three items are entered, you can record this as well, right? Now, if you correctly entered your orders and quotations, under quotes, there should be one quotation you entered, which is still remaining, because with the same quotation, we can enter multiple orders. And under orders, there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 orders. Okay. Then that is about quotations and purchase ordering. Then, when we are supposed to enter a bill or an invoice, right? Actually, there can be certain purchases that we do without going through this entire process, without calling quotations, without placing a purchase order. Sometimes we may directly go to the supplier, directly go to a shop and buy something, right? Then the first document which will be raised is the invoice or the bill. Now, අපි කලින් ගිහලා බඩුවක් ගන්න ගියාම සාමාන්‍ය දෙයක්. ඔය quotation එකක් call කරලා purchase order එකක් දාලා එහෙම කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඉතින් සල්ලි අර දීලා ගන්නවා. So in that case, the first document being raised is the bill, invoice, right? Then in such kind of a purchase, how to record that bill without having any prior documents, without having any prior proceedings, right? So here you can see there are a few simple transactions that are started with the bill. Directly we go and purchase, right? So we are going to see some of the transactions like that. Recording a bill when an order was not created. Without an order, directly the bill, right? The specialty of this is most of these items are service layout bills. That means these are not the items we ordered, we have received. These are the items we have directly went and purchased that are not our items, that are not in our item list. General purchases. right? For general purchases, how we record it, right? How we record the bill, right? Look at bill number 1. Company purchased paper for the fax copier, writing papers, and other stationery. Right? These items are not in our items list. Right? We are not a business that's selling stationery, right? We don't have stationery business. So these are purchased for the office use, right? Then date is 12th April. Total cost is 525, and this should be expensed to office supplies and stationery account. All right. So obviously this should be a service layout bill, right? It should be a bill. It says that, and it should be a service layout. Is clear? Is that clear? Item layout service layout clear. It's not representing our items list, right? Then we will go to open bills, right? Open bills. Then make it bill, right? We go to the open bills and create a new bill. I'm showing you the easiest and most convenient path. Otherwise, you could have gone through the enter purchase and change the format to bill. That option is always there. That is a long path, right? But here I'm going through the more accurate and more convenient path. Under open bills, I create a new bill. Right? The bill color is blue color. Color is blue color, is light blue. Then the supplier is Ashok Company Private Limited. Right? Select the supplier. Then the date should be 12th of April. Right? 12th of April. Then layout is item layout, because for Ashok company supplier, we have set the item layout, right? But we are supposed to enter the bills under the service layout. Therefore, we'll change the layout as service. Right? Now we are going to enter a service layout bill. Right? Service layout bill, direct purchase. The description is papers for the fax copier, writing papers, and other stationery. Papers for the copier, fax for the fax copier, writing papers, and other stationery. Okay. Then the account should be office supplies and stationery. Right? When you type half of it, it will automatically filled. It will be automatically filled office supplies and stationery. Right? And the amount is 525. 525. Right? No any tax, no any taxation mentioned about it. Is there any tax? It's VAT inclusive, right? VAT inclusive. Value added tax should be included, so I include VAT. Right. So these are the information about that particular bill. Now I want you to recap. Shall we try recapping this transaction? Now you can see the double entries properly, because this is going to be the starting point of the accounting treatment. This is a bill. Bill is the invoice. Accounting invoice bill. So it's a source document for you to start the accounting treatment. Therefore, you are going to enter a double entry actually, right? Okay. Then click on the record button. Then you can cancel this format and go and see under open bills. There is a bill created for the purchased items. Ashok Company Private Limited. Then we will look at bill number 2, right? Bill number 2, another set of items we purchased out of our items list, right? General purchases. From the XY company, let's create a new bill. Companies XY Company Private Limited. They ask you whether to use any of the previous purchase orders. No, cancel. And the date is 13th of April. 13th of April. And you have to make sure the layout is changed as service. There are few items, right? So the description is capitalize first two amounts of office furniture and equipment. So these two, even though they are purchases, you want them to be capitalized into the office furniture and equipment account with the cap tax code. And the last amount should be expensed to the ground maintenance. Okay. Then we'll look at the first two. First item is supply and fit pro shop counters. Copy and paste. I'm copying and pasting because I'm lazy to type this. If you are not lazy, better type it. Because at the exam, you are getting a paper, printed paper, you have to type. You can't copy and paste. Okay. No, 3 hours is too much. I mean, we had the examination. They finished like in 1.5 hours. They wanted to leave early. Yeah, a lot of students left early. Really easy. I don't know whether they wrote and went early. I have to mark the papers and see. Right, then it's 12,000. This should be office of furniture and equipment, right? It says it's not an expense account. Of course, we know that. Knowing that, I'm recording. 12,500. And the tax code should be kept. Right. And then supply and lay artificial grass carpets squares. That should also be debited to office furniture. Okay, I know that. 4,350. Yeah. And install bag racks in showroom. That should be expense to ground maintenance. Ground maintenance cost account. Then there is no objection for that account because it's an expense account, right? Tax code is given for that. It's not mentioned, no? It is used, not in T. Wait. VAT is automatically filled. No. The meaning is whatever the expense you are entering into the ground maintenance account should be VAT, right? Should include VAT. Therefore, we leave it if it is out of here. Better not to change. Price is 2,700. Since VAT is automatically filled, the meaning is that should be included. VAT should be included, right? Then look at the other information. That's it. Again, you can recap and see the double entry. You can see with the accounts how they are being debited and credited. Now, one small clarification. When you try to enter few transactions to few accounts, right? Like these two, office furniture and equipment at cost, all this, system gave you an error message. Not an error message, actually it's a warning. Why that warning is given? When you are purchasing something through this purchase register, purchase command center, usually those purchases are the items for general usage and the items you buy and sell, right? Any capital item purchases, usually if it is cash, it goes through the cash book. If it's credit, that should go through the general ledger, general journal, right? Unfortunately, we are buying these capital items from a supplier that we have registered for routine supply, right? Because we want to see their balance, the supplier balances and the supplier purchases. We are using this particular format to enter those capital purchases, right? That is where this confusion happens. Knowing that there is a confusion, we entered. All right, clear? Then click the record button. Cancel. Now you can see under open bills, there are two bills created. Why do we call them open bills? Because we have not paid. We have still not paid for these items. Okay. All right. Now, what is our learning process? Then, now, if you look at a summary of what we discussed, there's a very clear order, right? When we are making our usual item, your purchases, you have two types of things that can be purchased. One type of things is anything that is out of your items list. Okay, anything out of your items list. So we use the service layout orders. There we created purchase order, right? And then the other type is the things in your items list. Right? When you are purchasing the things in your items list, there are a few possible scenarios. One scenario is going through the correct process. Placing a quotation, calling for quotation, placing the purchase order, and then ordering. Right? There is another way. Without a quotation, you directly place the purchase order. Okay? So these variants we learned. And so in certain cases, when you are placing the purchase order, some amount you have to pay in advance. Another scenario. Right? And also when you are placing purchase orders, instead of the single item, there can be sub-variants of that item. Right? MRF model A and model B like this. Right? So that variant is here. And the other learning is buying unit of measure. How to deal with the buying unit of measure when you are buying items. Right? Those were the two broad purchase ordering learnings. Right? And now we are moving to billing. Right? Thereafter we move to billing. In billing also there are two variants, two categories. One is creating bills for the items outside my items list. Right? So those bills we created now. We enter करे එහෙම වනේ. Item list එකේ නැති ඒවා. Purchase කරාම ඒකට bill කරනවා. Now our next learning is how to bill for the items in our items list. Right? So in that process there can be sub-variants. අරකේ වගේම sub-variants තියෙනවා. One type of variant is we have already pending orders. When we receive the invoices for those orders, how to bill? Right? And there can be some other bills without any previous purchase order. Directly we go and buy the items in our items. So those are the variants. Next week we are going to discuss that last branch of that billing. Understood? So when you complete the last next week's session, all these purchase orders will become bills, and after that we will make the payment for those bills. Then they all will become closed bills. Right? In the process, there can be certain items to be returned. Okay, so we will return those items, and there can be certain items we don't receive. We place the purchase orders, then we order කරලා ඉන්න හොඳ. අපිට එවන්නේ නැහැ සමහර එක. Right? Then what we do? We have to back order. Then we will learn how to place the back orders. Right? So that part is the next learn. So with that, end of the day, all your ordered items should be received. Clear? All right. Okay, so that is the learning for today. You all can close the company file and take your company file with somewhere safe. Keep it somewhere safe and easily you can download next week. All right. So next week, after next week's stuff, because we complete the purchasing cycle, you will have a continuous assessment 2 submission. Right? Classroom continuous assessment 2 submission will be there after next week's lesson. So purchasing cycle එක complete නේ. ඒක complete වෙච්ච file එක submit කරන්න තියෙනවා. Therefore, ask all your friends to come next week. එහෙම assignment තියෙන දවසට එන්න ඕන එකක් නෙමෙයි මේක. එහෙම කරන්න බෑ. But I mean, ask them to complete the company file up to now and come next week. So they can submit the company file. Okay, thank you.